Number one, the misinformation is that bamboo was the cause. That's just plain wrong, because if you look at pictures, News Starlight, if you look at pictures after the fire, the bamboo is very much still standing. So it absolutely did not burn, at least not like didn't collapse or anything. And especially if you compare that to metal scaffolding melts, and that's why things collapse. Just like when you had the fire in Notre Dame, the scaffolding melted and then the roof collapsed and everything. So the good thing about the scaffolding that we had was, thankfully, they were still standing despite the fire. Orientalism runs deep in the colonial West. You're preempting me, Iskandar. I was getting to that a little bit. I was getting to that. And that is one thing that really annoyed me as well. So that is the main bit of misinformation. Now, how it's being spread. It's just... I was telling my friend today, it does feel like it is us against everyone. Like the little guys, ordinary people in Hong Kong against every like corporate / governmental entity / media entity out there, because the Hong Kong government hasn't really done anything about it. They're too busy, thanking the Chinese government for like their incredible care and their help or whatever, even though they didn't do anything. They were like, the first thing the chief executive said was thank you to the Chinese government for caring so much for us, instead of like thanking the firefighters, especially the one who passed away. And so they're too busy, licking asses and all that. Fair enough. And also they're too busy like blaming the bamboo, because they are very desperate to replace that, integrate further with our dear mainland, and replace all the experienced local workforce with other ones with other facets of experience. And then the Chinese government's too busy like showing off how much they care. Like, oh, we love you guys, good job, hey, hang in there. And even like back then, a few years back, during the process, when it felt like we were against everyone, Hong Kong people were kind of counting on the West to support them, right? They were like, oh yeah, the Western world, the democratic world, they're with us, they're gonna like tell the truth and everything. Not this time. They were too busy like, again, blaming the bamboo, because white people or like Westerners, they see that bamboo like, oh, that looks foreign, that looks unfamiliar, must mean like they're like a backward culture, and we don't understand it, so it must be bad. And hence, what Iskandar said, Orientalism runs deep, because the Eurocentric worldview is the way we do things is necessarily the best way. Now, I'm not saying either way is the best way, but both ways have had like decades and even centuries of experience of being used, especially in Hong Kong, where every building is a high-rise building. We've been doing that for ages. Like even the crazy tall, like 100-story buildings are built with bamboo scaffolding. But like the Eurocentric worldview is like, yeah, no, they don't do it our way, so they must be wrong. And then so they even like there isn't even any sort of evidence or investigation or inquiry that's happened, and they're like, nah, it's probably bamboo. Bamboo is basically wood, right? And wood is flammable, so bamboo must be flammable. Oh, sorry. Oh, the table. It's yeah, I did notice that when I edit my clips. Sorry, I do apologize for that. But you know how I feel. That's that's what happens when I'm like, inquiry just started for some reason, makes people feel confident to say exactly what happened. I don't understand why. Yeah, I mean, the main point is, that's again what I'm going to say in Radio Comedy as well. We don't know exactly what happened. We have ideas. There is like some evidence for every possible reason. I mean, it's indefinitely. Well, indefinitely. Well, no, but not indefinitely. Inevitably, it definitely, yeah. Inevitably, it's definitely a combination of factors. Like that's the thing about hazard prevention, right? So on every step of the way, on every stage, you do something. There's some regulations to reduce the hazard to the minimum, and but you know, none of the steps is perfect. There's definitely some problems with them, but the goal is that by going through all the steps of hazard prevention, eventually the hazard is eliminated. But it just so happens that every step of the way there is some problem, something went wrong, some people not doing the jobs well, and some like materials not up to snuff, not according to standard, and eventually the hazard went through, and that's what you get. No, I was just 抛磚引玉. Yeah, and I know. Lots of Hong Kongers are on Threads, and I've also been like retweeting old habits, retweeting. We're not on Twitter anymore, but you know, reposting things, and that is the main thing that annoyed me. Yeah, the limited worldview. You know, I mean, I as a person who's lived in the West for a little bit, I speak many languages. I understand the dynamics between different cultures and peoples. Like I'm very invested in, like, you know, cultural clashes, racial harmony and all that. So I think about these things a lot, and it just really pissed me off that people jump to conclusions just because they saw something unfamiliar. There are far more flammable materials on a construction site than bamboo scaffolding. Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that later. Isn't the bamboo used for stuff like it's often green, hence fire resistant? I won't claim that I'm an expert. Like, I've seen arguments on both sides, because some people use the argument that we have kind of dish where you cook rice within like a bamboo, what's the word? Stick? I don't know what the word is. So literally you burn it on a fire, on an open fire, and it is fine. So that's one side of the argument. The other side of the argument is that that's when it is moist, like when it's fresh picked from the ground, has more moisture and it's more fire resistant. And then when it dries out, it's less fire resistant. But the strongest evidence I've seen is that, you know, the bamboo is literally still standing after the fire. So I don't think there is a stronger argument than that. Like, unless somehow it spreads fire but does not burn itself. Again, I'm not an expert, so like I'm open to different side of the argument. If the inquiry is properly formed out, the only way to get close is to the truth when needed.